Welcome to Secret Talks. I'm your host, Michaell Magrutsche, here with Dr. Joen Painter and Hillary F. Brown. We are certified personal coaches that let you listen in on our private master sessions, where we discuss topics that come up with us or our clients. Holiday episode 901. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In this holiday episode, we talk about the insanity that comes with this time of the year.
Yeah, that's good. Holiday insanity explained.
Because that's really what this is all about.
Yeah, because I'd want to know what you were talking about. Like, what do they mean? We explain why people are going insane so they understand. I think it's still holiday sanity. You know, we're talking about all the stuff that causes us to be crazy.
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of subjects. The whole idea of the subconscious reaction and everyone is stressed out because of the societal issues.
You can handle that. If it wasn't your end of the year and a new year beginning, if it wasn't everybody needs to feel good during holidays, if it wasn't that, what society tells you it's supposed to be, and you're so programmed because everybody celebrates the holiday. Not just a religion, not just your thing, not your group, the whole society. You gotta be affected by that in some way or another. We usually don't talk about problems, but since nobody talks about this, we gotta talk about this. It is an explanation about the phenomenon of holidays and its craziness. Because basically holidays are contradictions. It's like you should be this, but it's completely the opposite. Holidays turned into a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, good. I like that one. My friend today is like, my grandmother's sick. I might have to go to Florida for the holidays and my girlfriend's mad. I'm like, how can your girlfriend be mad about that?
Me. It's all about me.
I was just, okay. Really?
Obviously, she doesn't like it.
Well, yeah, duh. I mean, come on.
But then she needs to punish him.
She's such a punisher. It's like sad.
Or you have a sibling that has a bad relationship with girlfriend or whatever. He goes to the family, doesn't bring the girlfriend, but comes in with all that sadness and martyrdom and victimdom and just comes to the family because that's better than being alone. And then you have that one person that changes the whole energy of the room. Even if nobody gives him attention, it doesn't matter. He changes the whole energy because everybody knows he's moping about his girlfriend.
Who won't come over?
She wants him to go to her parents and they had a fight and he comes alone. I had a real good relationship with my parents. But the holidays were worse than when we had a party in the summer or just a party that was no pressure of holidays.
Well, because I keep thinking when you're talking about dating, okay, do I give a gift or do I not give a gift? Do I go to this party? Do I not go to that party? Do I go to his family's house? Do I not? We interpret. If you have an office party, some don't allow you to bring a guest.
Yeah, the tooldom of companies, they're all fear-driven anyway.
And the other part about it, too, is that if you're going to invite somebody to go with you to a holiday party, whether you've been dating for 3 months or 6 months or 3 days, you have to make sure that you're going to give them the appropriate attention. Because if they haven't gone to a holiday party with you yet, you don't know how they react when you're a social butterfly around the room.
Yeah. It's also frightened for the person that doesn't know anybody. If they're, I don't care. Me, you drop me in the freaking Africa and I talk to people. But
that's a lot of the holiday party stuff. And the other part about it is that if you've not gone to that, or even if you have gone and met the family before and stuff, what kind of gift do you take? You take a bottle of wine or you take flowers. You take something, some token thing. And then the day after, you make sure you call them or you send them a nice note that you had a good time.
The social requirements for holiday seasons, please hang in. We need to make you guys conscious of what a bomb holidays are. The solutions will come afterwards. 2 months, you have 4 major events: Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. They all have to do with family. Doesn't matter how good of a family you have, there's always friction. So you have all these stress and influences. And not only you, but everyone that you're supposed to meet and be together with. When society is so powerful and everybody celebrates it, it's not one group that celebrates it. It's not the Jews, born again Christian, the Mormons. No, it's everyone. All the stores are decorated. Everything is different for 2 months. From Halloween till New Year's, everything is different. And that's what makes it so tricky. The rest of the year is just trotting, doing whatever we think is right. What can you do with that? What we can do is, first of all, become conscious. That is the solution. See, the solution that we provide in this group is usually a solution that's positive, right? Go easy. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Trust where you're going to go. But in this case, because nobody's conscious. Halloween is a disguised purgatory. It's like, it could be good, it could be bad, and it's that middle ground. Usually, hell is better than purgatory. Purgatory is actually, when you really think about it, the worst. If we have an earthquake, we're all suffering cathartic experiences like the 9/11. There's so much light in that dark. The problem with Christmas and the holidays, there is no light or dark. It's just, it could be light, it could be dark. And usually when the kids are little, it's light. And when the kids grow up, it's getting really dark.
That's why we have grandchildren.
That's why we coerce our kids into getting more babies and making more miseries that we are satisfied with grandchildren. Having said all that, the solution is, why not creating your own? In addition, it's the most vulnerable time of the year because all our emotions are heightened through that stress, through that expectation, through that being part of something that's bigger than us. And if we want or not, it will affect us.
During the holiday times, we're thinking about unwelcome guests. We're thinking about the demands that are placed upon us because of society, whether it's parties, shopping, baking, cleaning, entertaining, any of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stress from that. If you don't live up to somebody else's expectations or they don't stand up to your expectations, set that aside until a more appropriate time for discussion. Because that seems, for some reason, there's a lot of blow-ups during the holidays because people feel like they gotta say what they feel. And when we're talking about our holiday tradition, we don't have to follow through with what it used to be. We can create our own new holiday traditions.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe create new traditions like going to see your friends.
You see more and more people do what they want anyway. So you're right, Joan. I like the celebratory aspect of holidays with people that I like. And that's very often you see this. I think it's getting also increasing that people go to their parents or in-laws really quick and then just move and then celebrate with their friends. And newer generations don't insist that everything has to be happy.
As adults, our families change and we grow and traditions change as well, and we have to decide what traditions we want to have in our own family, in our own lives.
Maybe they're going to go to their best friend's place and have their own celebration.
The next symptom of the holidays is that we become very judgmental of ourselves, of our family, and the people that we celebrate. The reason is we are already in judgment because consciously or subconsciously we review the year and say, how was that year? Was it a good year? Was it a bad year? Did I meet somebody that I wanted? Did I get the money that I wanted? Did I move to that place I always wanted to move to? And if it's good, we say, will that last the next year? We have an unknown future. We don't know. And we go into evaluating. Evaluating is different than judging. Observing and evaluating is good. But judging, I should have done this, I should have done that, and we know should is like shit. This was a good year, and I'll make this better. And if this was a bad year, then say, you know what? Finally, the bad stuff is out, and I made space for the good stuff for next year. When you catch yourself looking at other people, says, look what she has on, or look what this guy does, and I don't like how he does this. You always waste time, and you get away from your own issues. And judgment is something that only you have to adhere to, not the others. So if you say a man at his social status needs to drive a BMW, then guess what? If you are the same status or ever will be in that same status, you have to buy a BMW. He doesn't, Dr. Joan.
I agree. And one of the things that we also have to think about with that is that we do not want to say it out loud. If we have to have a discussion with somebody, save it for another time because you have recognized that you're in holiday stress and the other person is probably in holiday stress too. This is not a time for confrontation.
And also nobody will listen. If you are not in stress but you want to say that, you don't know if the other person is in stress or not, it's more likely that they will be in stress and then they will not be receptive to any of your judgment.
Exactly. You can't have a logical conversation when you're in stress and when another person is in stress also. It's even worse. So.
And that's the whole holiday dilemma, that everybody's in stress and here we have to love us. It's hard to love each other and care for each other when we're all in stress. Yeah. Or we are so exhausted from all this keep up with the Joneses. Okay, let's shift that exhaustion and struggle and be loving. How the hell can that be? What do you say, Hillary?
I mean, it's hard to love when you're on time constraints and maybe you only can see people for a certain amount of time. I think it's can be overwhelming.
And
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
Holidays are very strong memory imprints. So because those 2 intense months, the imprints, the memory imprints that we had as children, which is completely different than as adults, because when we're children, we receive holidays. When we're adults, we're giving holidays. And these imprints are very, very strong. That's also confusing, especially when you, as a kid, really enjoyed Christmas. Now you hate it because you had horrible experiences with your families, fights and breakups. This mixed bag of emotions creates more stress. This is pretty obvious to everyone. Being aware why we are in stress is the solution to know and understand holiday seasons and the stress that everybody goes through with that and how it connects with each other. And by understanding it, you can let it go. You get clarity and you can then choose your clear solutions.
Another solution with the holiday season, because we are in stress, is that we need to recognize it. And when we recognize it, that is also the time when we learn that it's the most important time, when to say yes and when to say no.
Setting your boundaries.
And just because you're feeling so resentful and overwhelmed. I hate using those words, but that is what happens a lot of times in stress in the holiday. And so that's a really important time to make sure you say yes when you want to say yes and to learn to say no when you don't want to say no. So you've got to take that breather and just take a deep breath and have some time to yourself. Take a walk, listen to music, get a massage.
You mean setting your boundaries? See, the good stuff of this is when you go to these 2 months without a hitch, you know whatever they throw the rest of the year at you, you pretty much be able to handle it. So definitely you can practice all year long your boundaries. If you survive the last 2 months, you know you have handled boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hillary, anything to say to people?
The one thing I wanted to say was some people have like automatic programmed freakouts during the holidays. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, that's for the
And it's hard
imprints. You're right.
Yeah, the imprinting, and like it's hard to know what to do for your friends when they're like that. But I found like being there for them was one thing that I did for one of my friends. If you can be there for people that don't have any support, that's one way to feel better about the holidays. Maybe you don't have anything to do. It's a way to be giving and also showing that you're grateful to have those people in your life.
I think it's always more interesting to actually do something productive. I mean, I'm an artist. I like to create all the time, but creating peace with other people is definitely more interesting than playing the game and look at each other and staring at the wall and be bored and singing Christmas songs. You know, I don't want to save anybody. Obviously, we all know we can't save anybody, but being here for somebody else and listening, going with somebody else to like a choir or something beautiful, you know, a walk in the snow or something romantic, makes you from a passive participant to an active participant. And perhaps that is something to make yourself active participant, not active in doing, but being an active participant by being in nature. You said here for other people, like you said, Hillary, just being in bliss. Listen to being here for yourself. Listen to beautiful music or watch Christmas Carol. That's something really enjoyable. Or get a loved one if he has the same joy. Walk through the snow or you know, do something that's fun. And it doesn't have to be related to holidays. It can be something totally fun. Drive in the Bahamas and do a water slide. It doesn't need to be a season-oriented things to do. We consciously or subconsciously review our year and see what had happened, and we wondering how the next year is going to be. Since the next year is unknown, we kind of project this year on the new one. If you had a good one, we question and think, will it be as good as this one or better, or will it lose it all? The same thing. If we had a bad one, we think, will it get worse or will it get actually better? Reviewing the year, if you really sit down and write down all the things you did, it's probably not a stressful thing. But when you just go with your mind and let your mind select what you did, then it is stressful. So I've learned to write down what did I do this year? And it was actually the most freeing experience because I really saw how much I did. Then you think about what you want for next year. And that will take a lot of stress for you. But it will be releasing that subconscious stress, that stress you don't know where it's coming, the anxiety, the fear that is just popping up. Joan?
I agree. I think that just a little bit of planning and thinking about the joy that you personally want to have for the holidays is the key.
Yeah, it's all about you knowing that this is all artificial, that's all made by society. It's not made by one person. It's not specially made for you. What can I do that I am happy and that I celebrate? I think the whole thing is really about celebration of life. It's celebration of being on this earth. And I think you need to know what that means to you, like your relationship to God. There is no, you can believe whatever higher power you believe in. None is right and none is wrong. If we were all dead and came back, say, okay, that's what happens, I know the absolute truth, that would be a different story. But nobody did, and everybody's pretending to. And I think that goes right into this holiday season. Everybody's supposed to do this and that, and everybody just buys the story. All these things that we talked about, of course, the highs, the lows, the eating, the losing the weight. I want to be happy, not being happy because we're all stressed. Expect so much that we cannot fulfill these expectations. Judging everyone. All these things are just adding to our bulk of stress that we invisibly carry because we're not even conscious. We're just stressful and we're just overwhelmed. Because we have these highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows. These holidays are very strong memory imprints. And in addition to all that we said, now you have created memory imprints that automatically you see Christmas, and that means overeating, losing weight. And now that's a memory imprint. I'm not saying you can't. It's easy to change if you're conscious. But who is sitting down and thinking about this? And we do it only because we became conscious somehow. We gotta point all these things out, the insanity of holidays, and not don't have holidays, but have your own holidays. You guys, right? That is the biggest solution. Try to create your own holidays and know at the same time what's going on in society and try to just rebel against it by doing your own stuff, not fighting it.
When you say that, the biggest part about it is that you don't have to get caught up in the holidays. Cause an issue for yourself.
Yeah.
It goes back to that whole thing of do what you want to do for the holidays and not do what's expected.
I think you can have your own traditions. Like you can make them up as you go and decide you're going to do this or that. Like I'm going to only buy presents for my nephews or the children in the family and like not care that that other people bought me presents. That's nice of not let it get to me and not care if people are judging.
It's hard to do though.
Of course,
Hillary, that's when people judge you, it's hard to ignore that. You feel it completely. That's why judgment is hurtful. When you're judged, you feel uncomfortable. You feel ambiguity. The whole gift giving. We got to do another show about gift giving. If you see a fountain pen, you think, I know Joan would love it. Joan says, I never write with a fountain pen. I don't want to get dirty. I hate it. You don't know what other people like. Unless they have shown that before and you say, I love going to Disneyland, and you invite them to Disneyland. Or you get them to that restaurant. But if you don't know that person loves doing that, you have no idea what taste of that person is, what they want. So what is if somebody gives you gifts? How are we dealing with that? If you get gifts and you haven't bought them, I think one of the things is being conscious that receiving is the highest form of giving. So it's like really being thankful and what it means to you. And what do you do if you get a bad gift, Hillary?
Same thing.
But then you're lying.
What do? You tell me how.
Yeah, Joan, I don't know. You think I know everything?
Yeah.
Joan.
Yes.
What are you going to do if you get a present at Christmas when everything is volatile and you don't like it? Are you taking it or are you not taking it? How do you react when you get a present that isn't what you like and you don't have a present for the other person?
First of all, the present that I get that I don't really like, I always try to be very gracious and be thankful. And then I probably will donate that item.
And you're thankful not for the present, for the thought. I think one of the bridges that people forget that we can help ourselves is, let's say they give you the worst, gaudiest thing there is. Instead of just saying, making a face, take your mind away from the thing and say, I love this person thought about me. Even if you think that guy recycled it. Let's say devil's advocate. You get a present that you don't like. You know the person recycled it. How do you be Joan?
I honestly don't care. I really don't, because I'm always just so, I can't believe that they gave me something.
Exactly. And I agree with you. You need to forget all the things that you know about. Because he could have given that to Hillary, but he chose you. Even though he recycled this and he's a cheapskate, whenever you judge him or know of him, the guy gives you a present. He could have given it to me or to Hillary. And the fact that he gives it to you, you need to find a reason. Like a motivation. We always talk about motivation. I said, find a motivation to lose the weight. Don't just lose weight. Find a motivation to do this. In the worst case scenario, if you say, I want to help this person, but I hate to paint a room. If you're already committed to it, find a motivation to paint the room instead of just feeling horrible about painting the room. That's what you have to do when you get a present and you know it's recycled and you know it's not right and it's all a negative. And I'm playing devil's advocate here. Yeah, he could have given that to anyone. And I know all this stuff, but that is irrelevant. He gave it to me. And for that, I'm thankful. Does that help?
Well, yes, and also goes back to us judging again. We don't want to judge the other person, and yet a lot of times when we get a gift, right? And whether we get a gift, whether it's good or bad, we try to understand the giver's reason for giving the gift. and interpret what they gave us by how we think they feel about us. And that's real. And receiving a well thought out gift makes the recipient feel cared about, and it strengthens the relationship.
You might have been just a person that gives you that gift out of, just a weird thing of events, and he just gives you that not out of his love or anything. He just gives it. And it really isn't important who gives you what.
Yeah, and gift giving can be bringing two people closer together, or it can lead to resentment. And that's the reality. And people don't want to have a sense of obligation. They want to have a sense of gratitude.
Yeah, it's not an eye for an eye. And I always have to remind myself, some of my teachers said, if your loved one gives you a Bentley, all you need to do is give him a kiss on the cheek. Or give him a daisy back or a kiss on the cheek, because then it wouldn't be given. The reason why people feel the obligation to give back is because they can't receive. They're incapable of receiving. If somebody gets you that you like or dislike a bottle of wine and you don't drink or whatever, or even if you like it, now you have to give them something back versus saying, really appreciate that. If you think that you upset the other person because you don't give him something back, if the other person is upset to get not something back, that's their issue. It needs to be separated, right?
Definitely.
So if I give you both a bottle of wine and I'm pissed that you don't give me a bottle of wine back, that's my issue. That isn't neither of your issues, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You need to understand giving and receiving, and then all of a sudden it softens the stress of, oh my God, she always gives me a great present. I have to come up with something. And those things will be soft. If you forgot somebody, you really want to give Joan something. I have the perfect gift, and then for whatever reason in that stressful city you forgot. You can always give it later. You don't have to wait a year to give it to us. Say, listen, I wanted to give you this at Christmas. I totally forgot. And that honesty will be priceless for Joan.
It's true. Yeah.
All these stresses, I think we have dispelled and hopefully given you insight into the craziness that holidays are. Hopefully, we planting seeds to future generation will not go in this automaton that's called holidays for these 2 months, and will be more gentle and loving for themselves and really bring back the holiday spirit that is about love, about celebration, about having a good time, being relaxed, just being. I think holiday for me is a time of being and being human, and I think it's exactly the opposite. What is celebrating holidays for you, Joan?
I love the holidays because I'm a family person, and I enjoy being with the family and doing for the family.
And no problems ever with that family?
Well, there used to be, but
Yeah, now you're grown up. And also, obviously, it takes one person that is self-aware to shift the whole dynamic in the holidays. And obviously, you have achieved that, and congratulations to that. Hillary.
For me, I love the holidays. I usually go to my mother's house and decorate, and they wait for me to come, So for me, I love it, and it is time to spend with the family, and I enjoy cooking, and that's kind of a gift I give when I go home. And also, I like to see my friends if I can, and have holiday parties. And I don't know, for me, it's always a time to reflect on what's going on in my life and tell everybody. So it can be really fun, and if you look at it in a positive way.
So you as well, you're very self-aware, and you're doing takes one. And that's why we wanted, I think this wraps kind of up, because it is exactly what we want you guys to get from this podcast. We want you to get what it is so you can make it yours. And I think we see with those two, and especially me, by the way, I haven't said what I do at holidays, but I like to be with my friends, my chosen family, with really close friends. And I don't want to celebrate all the time. I like to be alone during holidays, exactly for that reason that you guys mentioned, to review the year, review a new beginning, and just being in that being state. I just love, having 2 or 3 days, there's no work, there's nothing to do, watch a movie, be in another world, and just being. If we can't do that, I think we're creating a better world.
When I think about the new year coming, generally I try to just remain optimistic and positive and think about what I want to happen. Like, I think making goals is fine, but don't go overboard. Think about what you really can achieve. Be gentle on yourself, because we're so judgmental as it is.
Wonderful, Hillary, because what happens in that time, I gotta lose 20 pounds. I gotta get this. And this is the whole weight loss in January. So not only have you had 2 horrible months, of stress, or you had very stressful 2 months, most of us. I'm not talking for everyone, and now you start the new year with a complete.
Yeah, you're trying to self-validate, and that's not what you should be doing.
Exactly.
But that's what we end up doing.
Yeah, and that's why you start with a diet in the new year, and you started with all these New Year's resolution where every single person, there's the radio shows, and everybody knows that they don't never work. And everybody doesn't. That's this subconscious societal programming of this holiday season. That's exactly what we're talking about. You guys should listen to this podcast every Christmas. What is happening in society and how wrong that is really, and how that supposed to make you happy but really makes you unhappy. Ergo, in January, all those New Year's resolutions, losing weight, but it's also the gaining weight before the end of the year. So all that stress fits perfectly in, almost like a Lego piece. Okay, so you're completely stressed. Now, what is when we're stressed? We overeat. But also, see, this is how we completely disconnect. We overeat, and then we say, okay, now I have to pay for that in the next year. And I don't feel guilty eating it now, but obviously you do. I don't know a single person that when he overeats doesn't feel guilty, because you're overeating just to eat. And it's not like you're not enjoying it. It's perverse. You pretend that you don't care and overeat. And then the next year you say, I need to lose it, but you know you're not going to lose it. And now you're used to, for 2 months, you splurge. It's Halloween, you're eating candy, Thanksgiving, holidays, you're just eating, parties, eating. Now guess how easy that's going to be to lose that in the next year. This is like, I want to see how much I can lose and gain 40 pounds. There's an insanity to these holidays. And without being conscious and really understanding it and reminding yourself of it, you just get dragged in right away.
Big time.
The more we talk in a podcast about this, the more we become self-aware and say, you know what, this is really not making any sense for anybody that is a coach or anybody that is in the human development movement.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you said, it has to make sense for you.
Exactly, yeah.
And only you can keep the momentum going.
Exactly. And you can only survive that if you're not getting caught in this. Sure. So, and that concludes our podcast. We wish you happy holidays, healthy holidays, and stress-free holidays. That's it. Hillary? Joan?
I'm going to keep my sanity.
Your holiday sanity.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Joan.
For more information, go to michaellm.com. That's Michael with double L, MICHAELLM.com. On the upper right-hand side, click on Wellness Team. If you like this show, please pay it forward by sharing it with your friends and like it. Thanks to my colleagues, Hillary F. Brown at hillaryfbrown.com and Dr. Joen Painter at drjoan.com. I'm your host, Michaell Magrutsche. Thanks for listening.